Very good, very good.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite messages. One of
Oh,
my
is it?
all-time favorite messages.
Wow,
From Monday, October 17th, 2005.
I like that.
You are existence itself.
Reminds me of my friend Ramana.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you why. Remember how I told you a moment ago that with Ephesians, which in history has yet to be written because it hadn't been written in October 2005, but Ephesians is when our oneness clicked for me. I got it. This is where, for the first time, Innocence clicked for me. Not that I don't still lose it, because I still listen to ego, but I had never gotten it until this message. And this message, I got it that I was innocent, even though Holy Spirit had told me. We just read a message where he told me, the whole time he's telling me you're innocent, like inside I'm shaking my head and saying, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. This is the first time when I actually said, oh, I'm innocent. And I was so happy. I think on the Peace of God I wrote this message like, I get it, I'm innocent. And what I got out of this message was, the only thing my Father asks me to do is exist.
Is be, yes.
And I do that. If that's the only thing I'm asked to do, and I do that, then I'm innocent.
Wasn't that the single quiet thought of yesterday?
It was the single quiet thought of yesterday. Absolutely. It was the very same idea. So this message is where I first got it. So that's the first time that I could hear that I was innocent and agree. Up until then I was inside arguing while Holy Spirit was saying it. But if all I'm asked to do is exist, and there's no other rules, well, heck, I exist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm innocent. It's pretty easy. But, easy job description, Wayne says. But let's look at this message. We only have about 13 minutes, so let's see what happens. See if we get through it. If not, in 2 weeks, we'll just begin at the beginning and do it again, because it's one of my favorite messages anyway. Okay, so here we go. You are existence itself. A Course in Miracles says that I did not affect my own reality at all by illusions. What would you share regarding this thought? Answer. Do not confuse reality with illusions. You are thinking that you were born, and now you have the opportunity to be saved. And you are thinking that this birth of you and the opportunity for your salvation would not exist had it not been for illusions. You are thinking that since you are a product of the thought of separation, you exist because of illusions. This is but a confusion regarding who you are. And this is absolutely what I thought, because fully identified with the body, fully identified with being Regina, fully identified with being born from, Don and Anita Akers. I thought, it's just like he says, it's more like the old Christian thought, actually. I thought that was the beginning of my existence. And now there was some kind of an opportunity to be saved and to exist forever. But if it wasn't for separation, I never would have existed in the first place. That's how I was thinking. If there had never been a separation, Regina would never have been born, and Regina wouldn't have a chance to exist forever. So that's what was in my mind, and this is what he is pointing out. And now he's telling me that's not true. He says, you are existence itself. You existed before illusions seemed to be, and your existence is assured after illusions are forgotten. This is why I say you are eternal. Your existence is free of pain, fear, and worry, all of which seem to be a part of the consciousness of which you think you are now. It is the seeming individual consciousness that is illusion. And this illusion is not you because it is not existence. It is an illusory consciousness that has been laid on top of existence through imaginings. And in fact, what he's going to get to in just a moment, which is the same thing we read in 1 Corinthians earlier this week, if you're reading the reading plan along with Laurent and I and NTI, is we read that the personality is like a mask that we've made, and it's on top of our real face, which is existence. And this is what he's describing here. The individual consciousness, the belief that I'm this individual, that I'm Regina, is a mask on top of what I am. And what I am is existence. And as he's been teaching us through these single quiet thoughts lately, this mask of individual consciousness is really just a web of ideas. Mm-hmm. And he's been showing us how we define ourselves with ideas, and he's also been pointing out to us that we truly are not those ideas, and we're starting to see that.
Right. And just a quick little something, the main fear that is incorporated in this mask, which is a filter of ideas, a web of ideas, is the fear of not existing. Because somewhere inside of us, we, as the ego, we know we don't exist. We know that the mask doesn't exist.
Right.
Existence gives life to everything, to this mask as well. But as the mask, meaning if I'm born of a father and a mother in the world and stuff, then I carry deeply the fear of not existing, and I'm going to put a lot of effort not to face this fear, because it's terrible. Even fearing death is a way to avoid this fear, because it's in the future, it's terrible and stuff, but it's not as terrible as fearing some kind of a realization that I don't exist as myself, as who I am.
Right.
So when he comes with you are existence itself, that just like blows away in the foundation in the building blocks of that illusion of myself. That carries, and this is, by the way, the main path of Ramana. Yes. It's like if you can have the direct experience, even a split of a second, that you are existence now, here, just that's it. Just the more you do that, you don't have anything to worry about after, because that takes care of cleansing all belief, everything. That just tells the ego, that just tells yourself, who believes in the ego, I am that I am, meaning I exist. I'm not. That takes care of itself of the fear of not existing.
Yes.
On which the whole thing relies.
Yes. I am that I am. I am that I am. All right, let me go to the third paragraph, and actually I'm going to take a break to say hi, Dan. I just noticed a friend of mine is in the room. Okay, now back. I'm back. Let's go down to the third paragraph. He said, you try to imagine yourself without imagining. So I'm trying to imagine, as he's talking to me, I'm trying to imagine, okay, so what is it like being existence without being Regina? And I can't imagine that. So, I just can't, and I'm getting my head hurting. He says, you try to imagine yourself without imaginings. This cannot be done, for illusory consciousness does not remember existence without consciousness, and so it cannot imagine it. Because you believe that consciousness is what you are, and consciousness can be used in several different ways.
Right.
So let me clarify that in this paragraph, consciousness is synonymous with thinking. In fact, let me go ahead and just use the word thinking. He says, because you believe that thinking is what you are, and that all experience must come from being conscious or being attached to your thinking mind, it seems that existence without consciousness must be death. But how can existence be death? And if existence is death, how could it have made consciousness? So he's really just trying to get me to see there had to be something before this experience that I'm having now. And he's literally somehow getting me, during this paragraph, I told you this is the day it clicked. During this paragraph, he is shifting my mind from identification with the mask to identification with existence. And I'm really starting to, somehow, I can't explain it, somehow in my mind I'm starting to see myself as existence, even though I can't imagine it. The identity is shifting for me. And I'm realizing, oh my God, you're right. I have to be more than what I think I am. For the first time, I'm saying that for real. I have to be more than what I think I am. And notice the have to be. I was seeing I have to be. It's true. I could feel it. He continues. Existence is a peacefulness and wholeness that your consciousness cannot imagine. This fact I asked you to accept in faith and trust. To try to imagine existence without consciousness is to continue to exercise consciousness and to retain consciousness as your seeming identity. Now again, consciousness here is synonymous with thinking. So what he's trying to tell me here is that if I am using my thinking mind to try and imagine what it must be like to be existence without thinking, I'm using my thinking mind. In that instant, I'm still identified with thinking as me. I'm thinking my answer is going to come from my thinking. I'm still thinking I'm my thinking. I can't think my way into realizing I'm not thinking. Do you hear that? I can't think my way into realizing I'm not thinking. It's impossible. It's impossible. And that's why he says, to know yourself as existence, you must relax and let go of consciousness, or again, in this case, thinking. You have to relax. You have to rest. You have to trust. You have to be willing, actually, not to understand. It's through being willing not to understand and being okay with that the understanding comes. You can't think your way into it. It's impossible. It's impossible. Holy Spirit continues. This is why I ask you to focus on the moment, the now. Existence is now, whereas consciousness seems to be all over the place and nowhere at the same time. And you guys know this about the thinking mind. It goes forward into the future, back into the past. It imagines stuff that's never going to happen and never did happen.
But it's never now.
It's never now.
It feels now.
It's all over the place and nowhere at the same time. So existence is now, whereas consciousness seems to be all over the place and nowhere at the same time. It strives to control the past and the future, this imagining and that imagining all at once. In its striving, it spins and spins, missing the fact of reality by striving within its fantasies. To let go of this striving is to be. And to be is existence. So again, the only way to realize we're existence is to let go of the thinking. We can't think our way into realizing it.
To let go of this. Like I like the striving.
The striving, the efforting.
For me, is it an efforting? Is it a wanting as well?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what you mean by wanting. Efforting to me is a striving. It's a working. It's a trying. Striving. Yeah.
I saw that as another ambassador, of the desire not to know thyself.
Oh yeah.
That some kind of a force of a wanting to control the past and the future.
Yes,
and all that kind of thing.
That's true also. Absolutely. Okay, so let's look at these last two paragraphs. I think we will finish this today. He says, this is something you can do, and he's referring to just being. He says, this is something you can do even within the dream. And as you be within the dream, you cease to exercise consciousness so that it slows down, quiets, and dies. So again, as we just be, without the thinking, without the striving,
which is what we talked about
it slows down and dies, absolutely. But after consciousness dies, or after thinking dies, you still are. So you must not have been consciousness. And this, that you are, always was. So that it was not affected by the insane consciousness that seemed to be you for a little while. Consciousness is like a mask that you wear, and it seems to be something and to be alive. But when the mask is taken off and laid aside, it is nothing. You are what is behind the mask. You were there before the mask was put on. You are there now under the mask, and you continue when the mask has been laid aside. So again, this lifetime is a temporary experience, just like this day is a temporary experience, this problem is a temporary experience, this joy is a temporary experience. We are that which was before, which is now, and which will continue to be after. We are existence itself, and as yesterday's single quiet thought said, the only obligation we have is to be, and we can't help but be that. Therefore, we're perfectly innocent always. And that's it. We're out of time.
Very cool.
Very cool. All right, you guys. So Laurent is back tomorrow at 1 o'clock.